would say that it is very beneficial to get out a broad message for them to like visually see something. So one of the ways that we saw it productive, and I know that I helped Jason do this, he did it more on Insta stories instead of IGTV, was putting out just kind of what does a typical like Mockingbird Kitchen is getting ready to open up. So this is a video of what your in-store experience or your in restaurant experience is going to look like at Mockingbird Kitchen. So any video that you post on Instagram over 1 minute is going to want to push to IGTV. So you would upload the video and then it pops up a box, which I can't screen share and show this because you have to do it from a mobile phone. But it would kind of prompt you to post it to IGTV. So then a preview of that video would appear in your feed and they would tap the video to continue watching the longer video. And so what that is really good for, I think, is just educating your customers on what curbside looks like or what process they're going to go through from the moment they hit your door when they come to eat in the restaurant. Or also maybe kind of what does it look like in the kitchen now? Like what safety measures are you putting in place in your kitchen? Like let them see that. That's a place they don't normally go in your restaurant. They normally don't get to see those things. So take that extra step and show them kind of behind the scenes. So that's kind of a few like quick things on IGTV and what I think it's good for. For me, I sell things on there. Like my girls joke that I look like QVC or a used car salesman as I like today. I was talking about tips for preschool mamas. So those are some things that I use IGTV for that might not work for restaurants, but it's just a good education tool for your customers. Does that help, Julia? Or go ahead, Stephanie.
Yeah, what it does too is it also prompts your story. Like when you post the IGTV at the top of the Instagram, it prompts your story to go at the beginning, which is another marketing positive to it. So like often people will just post in stories, but if you're doing, to Lindsay's point, longer than a minute, you really want to do that on IGTV because it'll put it in your stagnant feed, but it'll also prompt your story to go to the beginning of everybody else's stories, which means people will watch yours before they watch any other story. So from an algorithm and a logistical standpoint, it's also super positive for your business.
I really appreciate what Stephanie's telling us about these algorithm things because I'm giving you guys like my personal experience about what has worked for my business. So I think it's helpful to see some of this, like the backup of, oh yeah, that's why it works. So Julia, does that help any at all with IGTV or any other questions?
Yeah, no, this is definitely very helpful. Going crazy here, taking notes, especially on the video front.
Yes, and I'll be happy, like I said, to have a different call with you. We'll have to figure out how we Zoom and show some of that on that mobile platform because it's a little harder, but I would be happy to help you with that. And yeah, also I would echo on IGTV some of the things that Stephanie said about not trying to be perfect and totally curated. Like sometimes I like flub and mess up my words and I just kind of keep rolling because if we try to get it exactly perfect, one, it doesn't look as authentic and trustworthy, and two, it's just going to take so much time. And frankly, we don't always have 2 hours to devote. We don't ever probably have 2 hours in a day to devote to marketing. So if we can get it done and get it out there, that's more important than getting it done perfectly.
No, I agree with you there. Definitely authenticity is very important. So definitely, like I said, taking a lot of notes in terms of the video. That is something that we haven't done a lot. Photography, we are good. I mean, part of our delivery platforms, they offer us to take photography of all of our dishes for both restaurants. So we feel good there for now because that was done recently in the last 2 months. But the video content, I think what intrigues me is, it's what's going to drive engagement. And I think that's what we all want. It's not to have content out there for the sake of content, but to have content that's going to drive engagement, whether it is sharing it, commenting, tagging other people, what have you. It's just the content has to be engaging. And that's sometimes where we as restaurant owners kind of have that mental block and might not come up with the right combination of words or photography, video, whatever, to kind of drive that engagement.
And I will say too, this kind of goes against maybe, I don't want to say an agency perspective because I don't know that, but from a small business ownership perspective, sometimes the ultimate behavior that you're wanting is that they will come into your restaurant and eat, or they will call and order curbside takeout. That's what you're ultimately wanting. And sometimes they may not double tap that photo, and they may not comment about how they want to have that drink this weekend, but they do show up and engage with you in that way. They come to the restaurant, they buy the drink. And so I know sometimes it's so hard to like let go of the numbers about how many likes a picture get or how many comments. But I also will say, when you start to hear those things, and you will, or I mean, Jason has noted that he'll see an increase in sales that day after a great post. And it may not mean 100 likes brought in 100 customers, but he's seeing a correlation between that. So I would encourage you that too. Don't solely look at the Instagram numbers for engagement. Also look at what your business is doing and the words people are saying about when they come in.
Great point.
I think too, Julia, if you're doing video, if this is the first time, one of the things that you can do is really practice doing those videos before you know, if you have on your content calendar to do a video Friday, like practice today and tomorrow of what works, what feels authentic to you, because it's going to feel awkward the first couple times you do it or somebody does it, right? Like, it's just, video feels awkward. So the more you can practice that before you start launching those, the better off you'll do. And then you'll realize, oh, when I say it this way, I really feel like I connect with my customer. It feels really authentic for my company. Or if you're saying, you know, like, oh, well, this restaurant said it this way, so I kind of want to do this because they had really great engagement, but it doesn't work for you, right? So like, practicing will help you in that sense, but it'll also help you find your voice and feel authentic and natural versus like, I feel awkward because I'm doing this for the first time.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Okay, anybody else with a specific question? Mockingbird Kitchen, is there something we can help you guys with your reopening, or a question about social media?
Well, we've been talking about doing some advertising. We got the Ready for Business money and trying to decide if we should spend that money and how to do that. Mm-hmm. Probably on social media, maybe some of the bigger platforms, maybe a little bit of TV and radio. I know they want that. We've started, somebody helped us set up our social media platforms when we first opened. She worked for an ad agency and she kind of did this as a side gig for us. So she really set us up really well. And then once we found our voices, and it's interesting to watch because like Chrissy and I have different ways of posting. So we each have our own voice. I'm the talker and she's pretty much straight to the chase. Yeah. So
you reach all kinds of customers that way. That's great.
Now they can probably tell who's posting by how it turns out. So, you know, I'm the 20 hashtags later and she's lucky if she remembered to put ours on there. So, but it's been interesting. I think TV, more video is probably should be in our future. We haven't really engaged in that much. We both are good about taking pictures twice a day. It's like, if you post it, I'll post, you post. Mm-hmm. And I've been trying to keep a bunch of favorites of good pictures of our regular stuff that we do specials almost every day, and trying to find that place in the restaurant that takes a good picture of your food, you know, trying to mix it up a little bit. We probably need to engage our staff more and more indoor pictures of our restaurant, but it's minimalist. People have said that we don't have a whole lot going on in our restaurant in terms of decor. So it's kind of hard to focus on that because that's not really who we are. We don't have Jason's 1,000 old pictures that are cool to look at. So we've been sort of trying to find out who we are. And so we're pretty food driven in our posts. So, but I think that's probably the next step for us is videos and Instagram story.
Yeah. And just, you know, like Stephanie said at the beginning, like maybe that's your takeaway from this, that you're going to try. I mean, you're going to try on Thursdays to work on your Insta stories for the weekend, that you're kind of thinking through what that would be. And, you know, I appreciated the elephant analogy, because I'm learning new things. Even as Stephanie's talking, I was writing notes too. And like, I feel like all this builds on one another. So you've got the food photography, and you guys have kind of figured out a voice. So now you get to take another step and build on that. And maybe that's video and stories. And then you're going to take another step and build on that, which I think is great. Great. And I think you will find some good feedback from videos and stories. I mean, we have, and I've heard other people say that too.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, there's that day you get up and you go, I'm going to try something new. And you do, you go, oh, well, that worked, or it didn't. You go, okay, moving on. You know?
Right. Right.
But,
and there's so much you can do in those stories too. I mean, you can put polls out there and ask questions, and all those things drive too. But maybe just start with something simple with, I mean, you kind of got an easy entry with this is what your in-restaurant dining experience will look like.
Yeah.
You know?
So we're, and I was actually laughing because I was like, well, how about if this week I'll go and I'll take a picture. Look, this is our new hand sanitizer. Look where it is.
Yes.
Look, we've got contactless paper towel holders now. And here's what we're doing here, you know.
Yes.
So the little stuff that says that we're getting ready to open for dine-in says it's going to be interesting. That is, I hate to say this, but the one, but a positive out of all this is that I've had time to step back and kind of look at a lot of things. And I've learned a lot about computers and how my computer, I could use it more effectively. It's always done that. I just didn't know that. You know? So these are all good things.
There's some humor in that. Maybe you could even be funny and just post the hand sanitizer first and put something in your comment like, we're preparing. Can you guess what we're preparing for? And then post the sanitizer. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of lead them up to that too. So.
You laugh, but I love that. Like, that is exactly what people want to know, right? And what I'm thinking before I go into your restaurant is, okay, what's their sanitize? Like, how are they sanitized? How are they acting? And if you're on Instagram, like, lightheartedly, we got the hand sanitizer, brand new paper towels for you. I feel safe walking into your restaurant, right? Like, as your customer, I think they're the people I want to hang out with, because not only are they prepared, but they're funny. Like, you know? So I love that idea. I think it's fantastic.
All right. Well, there, I have a plan of things to do now.
Yeah. And y'all have new parking too, like a new parking arrangement, right? Can't you throw that out there that you?
Yeah, our landlord's been doing some work, so it looks a lot better out there now. His next step is to put in some shrubbery. He made new islands, but it's just dirt right now. But yeah, the parking is a lot better. People are much happier. Yes. Yeah.
So.
I think too, like, people are at home doing nothing, right? So if you're out there and you're like, new shrubs today, hot new items, you know, like, people relate to that, right? Like, we're all sitting at home looking for something super exciting to happen. And maybe it's the shrubs, you know? Like, I get super excited when the neighborhood stray cat walks by. So.
Oh yeah, big thrill of the day. We got to go to the pharmacy to pick up the cat meds, you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, just figuring out what people, because I have had to stand out in the parking lot, and I'm like, I guess I should make that an ad. I'm going to do it. Okay, are you bored of talking to your people in your house? Come pick up takeout, and I'll stand in the parking lot and talk to you.
Yes, that is great. That is great. That is great.
There are people who said, we just wanted to get out. I'm like, okay, well, I'll stand here and talk to you. That's what I do.
These are awesome. You're writing these down, right?
Yeah.
These are great.
Chrissy's writing. I'm talking.
There you go. She is writing it.
And that's a good point. Sometimes it's just having a conversation with somebody else. Maybe if it's not even Stephanie and I, if it's just a friend or somebody you know that likes social media, and just say, hey, what do you think I should post on my Instagram? And I was working with a client who said that her sister was super witty and she could make things funny and she couldn't. And I told her, I'm like, well, write down a list of 10 posts that you think you want to post, and then give it to your sister and say, can you help me create this content? So I think, Julia, to your point, that's kind of part of it too, is we do wear so many hats as small business owners. Don't be afraid to reach out to somebody that you know who's better with words than you are, or better with photography than you are, and get some just some support help. And I'm sorry, there's a lot of background noise out here today, so y'all forgive me for that. I'm trying to escape my kiddos.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, the question that I have is, being in a bakery, we have to use our hands, bare hands. And I don't know if you saw the TV news that we were on. We were showing the person. Yes. So some of the comments that I got, glove please, not wearing gloves via email and post on social media. Why we were not wearing gloves baking bread. So the issue that I have is for educational, if you think about it. Bread is at 450 degrees. Do you think that the virus or anything is going to be killed? Yes, everything is going to be killed. So it's trying to find the balance of living under people are paranoid about wearing gloves versus the reality of my business that is very specific about sort of about how you feel the dough in your hands. So I have been trying to be nice and trying to find the balance of showing people working on the bread, but then when they're packing, showing the glove. But I wanted to get your feedback from outside who's knowing my business, if you have any additional insights.
And Chris, I may ask you to step in on this too, but I mean, I think I would just continue to educate them. Like you're saying, I would show pictures. I'd post a picture of your employees or you washing their hands, or maybe even a video of what the process looks, that we're going to wash our hands first, then we're going to go knead the bread, and then we're going to bake it. And you're going to have to educate people in this season and tell them you're washing your hands, but also we're confident that the baking of the bread kills the virus.
And say something about
we're going one step further. We know that the heat kills the virus, but we're going to wash our hands anyway. Chris, would you add anything else?
No, absolutely not. I mean, just being straightforward and honest with them and showing. I mean, we can talk all we want, but unless we see something, I just don't think it's sinking in people's head. And I mean, think about trying to knead bread with gloves. That just doesn't make any sense at all. But people are not thinking, very straight on that. They're just more scared.
I think that's where video could help you, Damara, to like walk them through that process too.
Do you see that Chrissy and Lee have I see that Chrissy and Lee have their hand up. Yes.
We were just going to say, you can always reach out and say that it's okay by the Arkansas Department of Health, and you've done it a long time too. Just reach out and say the Arkansas Department of Health allows you to cook it that way, that you're allowed to, you are following the rules, and that is okay. It may not look like it, but it is still the rules for you to use your hands while you're making that bread before you put it in the oven. Don't forget to use them on your side. Remember that they're on your side, and that's legal. So don't be afraid of that. I mean, there's going to be things that we have to remind the customers of too, like technically servers don't have to have gloves on. We're probably going to give them gloves, and they don't necessarily, as long as they're not touching the food, they can serve without gloves right now. They have to have a mask, but not gloves. And I've seen a lot of people out there saying, they don't have gloves on. And I'm like, they don't have to. The Arkansas Department of Health does not require them to serve with gloves on, but they don't know that. So, you have to kind of use that. And I don't think necessarily that the kitchen guys have to have masks on. We require it because we want to save the staff, but for the customers, they don't have to have. If I were saying it right, I may be wrong, but as far as I know, that's true. So you might use that on your side.
That is all great content. I hope y'all wrote that down too. Like, I feel like the more you can educate, because y'all haven't opened up yet. I mean, I know you've been doing curbside, but the more you can educate people before they come in, I think it's going to help you on the back end with some of those questions too.
And it sounds like, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just
too. Oh, go ahead.
No. Please.
I think too, there's the social media is so charged right now. People's emotions and feelings are so charged that there's a lot of trolling. And I would just encourage you guys, if you are like Damara, like you're following all the rules, right? Like you're doing everything as you should be. Just delete it and move on. Like you don't have time for that. You don't have energy. You're running a business. You're making it work. There's a time and a place to delete and block people. And while I don't recommend it all the time or for every negative comment, that you just do, like you are doing your best and you have a ton of people that are supporting you. Northwest Arkansas wants you to survive and thrive. So if it just becomes trollish, delete it and move on. Like there's no need for that.
That's good. Good for me to hear. Thank you.
Yeah. No, but in my case, somebody took the time to send me an email, and I sat down and I really try to understand, being on her side, somebody that doesn't bake, how do I tell that person the procedure? And I did in a very nice way, you know, thanking her and saying everything that we do. Her reply to me, it was just so wonderful. I mean, she said, this is just phenomenal. I'm going to tell everybody about you. You took the time to educate me so that I know what's going on. So that's why I read the post and I reply. I try not to be emotional. Sometimes it's hard because sometimes people don't think about the words that they use. I just try to keep it very professional because I don't know who else is going to be reading. So my concern is over who else is going to be behind that post that I can take an opportunity to educate them. So I don't want to delete the person. I feel that I have to address it because if not, maybe because I did crisis management, we have to address it at the beginning before it escalates. And that's what I try to do.
And that's why I would say, Daymara, and for everybody else too, I would address it before it's even a comment. Like if there's some of these things that come up that you know people are going to question, like the server wearing gloves, if you're addressing it on the front end, then it's not reactionary. So it's a little harder for somebody to take it personal. You know, like you're not trying to tell them they're wrong, like you're responding to a comment. But if you put it up in a post in a video and you just say, this is our standard, I'm not saying nobody's going to troll it, to Stephanie's point, but I think you're kind of setting the expectations too.
Another great, if you're saying those things over and over and over again in comments or in posts, you can create an Instagram story and put it in a highlight and on your feed. And if you're not familiar with that, we can, I'd be happy to have an offline conversation with that. But you can put that video up there and you can say, hey, this is a really great question. Look at our stories. That's where our safety standards are. That's where our cleanliness standards are. And then it's always there for people to see and to click on. And it saves you from rewriting that same post 90 times.
That's good too.
Oh, I would love to learn how to do that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask about highlights actually, because they do seem so part of Instagram, and they do seem like back content that you can bring forward. So I think that's a great addition.
I think too, what so many of you are going to see is that you're going to use some of the social media platform right now during this COVID season, and you're going to get familiar with it and you're going to see the results, and it's going to be exciting to watch you guys use this over the next few years in different ways. And that's what, I mean, that's turning lemons into lemonade, right? We're going to use it during this hard season and really see it grow our business. So I'm excited to watch that too in our area.
Lindsay, way to put a positive spin on it. I love it.
Trying. All right. Well, Daymara or Mockingbird, anything else?
No, I don't think so. We can always reach out to you guys if we have some questions that come up in the middle of the night kind of thing. Make a list and send them. Okay, but thank you for all. We appreciate it.
So I'll come get takeout soon and say hi, and we can have a social media conversation.
There we go. You know, I have had all sorts of interesting conversations in the parking lot lately.
I love it.
Well, thank you. Everything has been so valuable. I really appreciate all the insight and taking the time to educate us how to become better social media marketers or whatever you call it.
You're doing a great job, Daymara. I heard you on KLRC the other day. You're doing great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all very much. Yes, thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Letting me be a part of this conversation. Like I said, I love this community, and I love that we have so many small businesses and family-run businesses. I think it just makes Northwest Arkansas such a fantastic place. So thanks for all your hard work and for making it work. And you know that you guys have lost a lot of hours and sleep and money, so you're appreciated.
Nice to meet you, Stephanie.
All right.
Bye,
guys.
Thank you all so much. Well,
Thank you so much. You guys are so helpful. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you for sharing. Appreciate you.
Thank you.